Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. Today we're going to be carrying on with November's exceptional story, The Devil's Due. And we are about to go into the Devil's Den. Verity's own home is a narrow, 3-story estate squeezed between two larger homes. Candles dot the walls and hang from chandeliers inside. Most are unlit, leaving the interior in darkness. You meet no servants as you let yourself in. The interior of Verity's home is dark and quiet. We can either take a seat, your host should be around any minute, or we can take a moment to look around, open a few drawers, knock on the walls to find hidden compartments. Let's just take a seat. You claim a leather armchair at the edge of a vast rug. As soon as you let your weight onto the cushion, you sink a good 3 or 4 inches. It's like the chair is trying to keep you from escaping. Even Verity's furniture has a malicious bent. Verity has strolled into her darkened parlour. She doesn't bother turning up the faint electric light. She takes a seat on the edge of an armchair, a glass of something amber in her hand. The light emanating from her eyes lights up the liquid when she brings it to her lips. So, what have you learned? We can go over the events of the Xeno Club, but leave out how you didn't use the coin exactly as directed. Verity is not surprised by what you tell her. Well, if nothing else, you've gotten a good story out of it. Perhaps you can take it to the bazaar, fragmentary though it is. She has another piece of paper for you, with another name on it. The last lead I have. Most likely, he has it. If not, then I must believe the soul is lost, and our business will be concluded either way. If she knows about your minor betrayal, she doesn't show it, but neither does she ask point blank whether you questioned the toxological deviless on the matter. Does she already know the answer to the question you didn't ask? Verity stands up from her chair and walks over to a bureau set against the wall. I have just one more devil for you to question, she says, and after that, our deal will be concluded. Well, let's receive her final instructions. She's writing down an address on a piece of paper. The meeting place is the Blind Helmsman down on Wolfstack Docks. Verity's long hand is sharp and angular, written like she's in a hurry to get somewhere. Be careful with this one, she says, downing the rest of her drink. He's a dangerous one, a fugitive and a renegade. A reactionary, you see, who took the losing side in the season of revolutions. He hasn't bothered to sit down again. I hoped it wouldn't come to this, but his likely involvement is one reason why I sought help from you. He and Hell are not in the best terms, nor he and I, for that matter. When you walk out onto the cobbled street, she leaves right behind you. You part ways, wordlessly. Well, it's time to go down to the Blind Helmsman in Wolfstack Docks, I guess. We're spending a lot of time here at Wolfstack Docks, given the amount of sailing we're doing, but there is also a pub here. Oh, wait, I remember. The pub has its own thing on the map, doesn't it? Yes, the Blind Helmsman, there we go. For a moment there, I went back to classic Fallen London map. The Devil's Drink. The Blind Helmsman is not geographically as far as you can get from the Brass Embassy, but it might as well be. Sailors are superstitious about selling their souls, and devils are often suspicious of souls touched by the Z. The devil you're looking for sits alone on a table crammed into an alcove in the back of the room. One smouldering amber eye is visible through the damp and pipe smoke. Well, let's go introduce ourselves, it is only polite. I was wondering when you come around to me. He grins without mirth. You have it then. You slide the coin out of a pocket and raise it for his inspection. Very well, but you're paying for my next drink. The version of the story he recounts is as much penny dreadful as romance. He spends a great deal of time on the lyricist's descent into the Neath, a journey of several days through a dark cave riddled with horrors. She made him believe she was dead, you know. He really did think he was descending into the underworld to rescue his love. So why did the nymph play this game? Shaping souls is a largely lost art. Yes, sometimes the devil might want to fix some minor flaw before abstraction. I suppose it's just one more tradition we lost. He lets out his version of a sigh, a growling noise dripping with irritation. What the nymph did to the lyrist was a work of delicate art. His soul still loves her, you see, even after all the betrayals. So what was the fate of the lyrist? His soul loved her, or at least that's what he told himself. Impossible to tell with mortals. When he was freed of it, he had no reason to stay with her, so he climbed his way back to the surface. Foolish, of course. He'd never survived the sun, not after indulging in the Neath for so long. The captain swirls the dregs of his drink in one hand. Not that he had a chance to find out. He didn't get the hero's welcome he expected when he came back from the underworld. Maybe they feared that he'd bring something back with him. They sent him right back down to the Neath, in pieces. The Crimson Captain's lone eye stares at you with intensity. And that's the end of the story. I imagine you have one question to ask, but before you do, would you tell me, who put you up to this? I mean, we have no real reason to deny his request here. You have no particular loyalty to Verity, or at least in this moment, you don't. Let's tell him. His hand comes down on the edge of the table with splintering force. I should have known. We must go. Now. He scrambles towards the door. I'll answer every question afterwards. First, you come with me. He narrows his eye at you. Don't you understand? She sent you here to stall me. She already knows the answer. Come. The Crimson Captain bolts out the door and onto the street. He's shockingly fast for a man his size, skittering without fear of slipping on the damp cobbles. Well, let's follow the Crimson Captain. You can barely keep up with him. You're not a detective, you're a decoy. He's leading you down the twisting alleys of Wolfstack Docks, vaguely northbound. A decoy for a thief. If we're quick, we might still catch her. You can hardly keep up with him as he runs, and if you tried to retrace his path later, you might not be able to. Eventually, his pace slows. The blur of the city resolves itself into buildings and streets. You are in Spite, at the door to an unremarkable house. With me. Quickly. The lock on the door has been pried open. Inside, the run-down house is clearly being used as a hiding place. A cot on the floor and a mess of boxes, contracts, soul jars, weapons. Let's look for Verity. Is she actually here? Did the captain deceive you? You're about to step deeper into the dark house when the captain grabs you by the shoulder. I see you, he says, at the darkness. Your eyes adjust. Indeed. A figure in a black dress, slipping away from behind a staircase, revolver in hand. She scoffs when your eyes meet. Shouldn't have stopped to look through the rest of what you've got here, I suppose. Her other hand is holding some kind of clay vessel. An amphora no bigger than a perfume bottle. Fortunate thing, though, that it's you who had it. She's addressing the captain, but keeping the gun trained on you. The Brass Embassy will never recognize the claims of a reactionary fugitive. I can just walk out of here with it. I mean, I can show her the coin. Does this work? Because he never took the coin. You still have it in your pocket. Maybe you could stall for time. Her face twitches as she contains her surprise. Oh, I am definitely going to shoot you. Fine. Ask your question first, but not one step from either of you. The captain, for his part, is shaking with barely contained anger. You already know most of the story anyway, but I'm sure there's some detail you'd like to clarify. So what, can we ask? Was it really her? She's the so-called nymph, isn't she? Or why does she want this so badly? Money? Pride? Something else? Let's ask why she wants this. Because I'm pretty sure she was the nymph. You don't deserve to know, she says plainly. But since I have no choice but to tell you, it's the repayment of a debt. She sighs, realizing that a longer explanation is required. He knew. Maybe from the moment he set eyes on me, he knew where it was headed. He was too in love with the idea of me to let go. But at the end, after everything, he made his bargain on the condition that I'd take care of whatever was left of him. So, now, we can toss her the coin. Is she serious about shooting you? She is, and it will kill you. Or we can attempt to broker a deal. Maybe everyone can walk away without any holes in them. Failure here can kill you if you already have wounds. I do not, I don't think. Or we can toss her the coin and duck. You are not so helpless, even against an armed opponent. This is a relatively safe option. Failure will still hurt. Let's go with the brokering a deal. I feel we don't need to shoot each other here. You ask Verity, if she wants this soul so much, why not just buy it from the captain? To him, it's clearly just another soul. And while theft may seem easier in the short term, surely she wouldn't want to make an enemy of him. He's already shown himself dangerous enough to evade capture by hell all this time. You leave the threat about how unfortunate it would be to make an enemy out of you implied. After some tense haggling, Verity and the captain come to terms on price. A price you'll get a share of, though she demands the return of her coin as part of the deal. Seems fair. Verity has the lyrical soul, at last. Though perhaps you did not play your assigned role in her plot exactly, and you're in no position to go demand payment. The Crimson Captain hands you his flask in a gesture of mutual commiseration. We can take a swig? Didn't all this start with your sleep being rudely interrupted? Or we can hand it back to him. That's it? That's all he has? Sympathy? I'll take a swig. He's running a whetstone down the length of a knife, thoughtfully filing away metal. The liquid inside his flask is peaty and sour. I'd suggest you forget all about her. Any encounter with Verity that you walk away from is a good one. You don't suppose she'll be making good on the payment she promised? And again, neither of you are exactly faithful to your promises. Before you leave, the captain hands you something. A linen bundle. You'll share a payment. I suppose this should cover what Verity owed you? Hidden in the cloth is a bottled soul. Abnormally, it is ice cold to the touch. You wrap it again before your fingers stick to it. You hear nothing of Verity again, at least not for a long time. False autumn is here. The streets are thronged with masked revellers, and sometimes, when on business around Moloch Street, you walk past Verity's townhouse. When you do, you swear you can hear singing, and a lyre. Thus ends a devil's due, and we got a discordant soul. The bottle is cold enough to numb the fingers. I don't think I've ever seen one of these before. Oh, and that is the end of the Devil's Due. This is a slightly shorter episode this time, so I apologise for that. Hopefully we shall be doing the evolution quest soon. I have the card, I just need to find out what I need to do it so I can prepare and not get caught halfway through recording without the thing I need. But either way, I hope you enjoyed A Devil's Due. I don't really think there was many other options. If there was any other options, please let me know down in the comments below. Be greatly appreciated. And thank you very much for watching. And as always, I'll see you next time.